the Tarkov community?
Active enough that I had to be the adult to myself and say, Bryan, if you want to buy a house, you can't have 55 subs. And I had,
Yes.
I mean, it was heartbreaking for me when I looked. One day I looked and I had 50 something subs, and I was
Yeah.
like, how the hell am I ever going to save up for a house putting that kind of money out every month?
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's because there's so many creators, and I'm not just talking about the Evasion team,
Mm-hmm.
our content creators that are with Evasion, but
Yeah.
beyond that, the community is great, and I try to be active where I can. Obviously, when Evasion is in full swing, I'm lurking more than I'm talking.
Yeah. Welcome to Tarducks, a podcast for content creators to come share their experiences and advice. And today, I have a really special guest. We're going to get behind the scenes with Evasion. One of the guys who's been there for a long time, Bryan Boru. Bryan, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Hello.
No problem. So what we normally do is we start things off with 3 quick questions just to get the juices flowing. So are you ready?
I'm gonna have to be.
All right. So you can go on a 2-week vacation anywhere in the world. Where are you going?
That's a hard one. I've been international, but not very much. One of my goals is to get to Australia and Hawaii, but I mean, if it's completely paid free and I can do
Yep.
whatever I want for 2 weeks, I think I'm going back to Ireland.
Oh, very cool. Now, have you? So you've been there before? Do you have roots
Yeah,
there, or it's just?
yeah. I'm second generation Irish American, and
Oh, no way.
I still have family there. And when I went, it was probably the first time I ever really felt home without a place. I
Yeah.
just felt right there.
Oh,
Granted, that's the view of a ignorant American not having to be there. I'm on
yeah.
vacation, but I really did love it there.
Oh, that is so cool. Actually, where I'm from in Newfoundland, a huge Irish, roots, music, the food. We're closer. It's just when people came across the pond, they landed in Newfoundland, and I guess a lot of the Irish are like, hey, it's just like home. All right, we'll
Yeah,
stay. So, oh, that's cool.
common latitude and all that stuff for
Yeah,
sure.
the weather is miserable, and so you get nothing else to do, so you drink. That's Newfoundland. So now I know you're a firefighter. Do fire stations still have the pole that people you see in the movies and whatnot that they slide
Yeah,
down?
some still do. A lot more of the career places are doing away with them due to lawsuits and
Uh
liability.
huh.
I don't personally agree with it.
Yeah.
I prefer having the fire pole,
Yeah.
and not because of any exotic dancing side job, but because it really does expedite your way to the vehicle, so
Yeah.
you can get your way to the apparatus and get going. But I mean, I understand liability-wise why they have done away with it, and now they're getting um, more specialized in their architecture, so new firehouses built without them can still get you on
Yeah.
the road as quick as they can.
Yeah.
Like the department I'm on, we had to rebuild one of our old firehouses. I mean, the thing was literally in operation when they had horse-drawn
Oh my
fire
God.
engines, and the doorway was originally really narrow and tall, and you can see where they lowered that doorway and widened that
Yeah.
doorway. And I mean, that was the house to learn. I learned how to drive the fire engine there, and it was probably the house to learn because now I'm not afraid of anything because
Yeah.
that backing the apparatus into that building, we had like
Oh my
2 inches of leeway on either side.
God.
And
Yeah.
so you either did it right or you found out the hard way. But yeah, we had to rebuild that firehouse,
Yeah.
and they built this big headquarters. Everything was there. All the big, like all the functions of the fire department that are non-suppressive were based there, along with my company.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a fire pole, and I was like, "This place is massive, and you don't have a fire pole." How am I going to get up from all the way up there to all the way down here? But I mean,
Yeah.
they figured it out. They made it. This stairwell is really wide and easy to get down, and you're going.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God. So now is all your
I'm
gear?
certain there's still plenty of firehouses out there with them in operation. It's just our department is one of the ones that had to look out for liability
Yeah.
and got rid of them.
Yeah, I could totally see that whole liability piece of it. So now, are you still throwing your gear on at the, at the fire truck, or you're getting geared up and then coming down those stairs?
You no, geared up at the fire truck,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, third question. You can see any band, past or present. Who are you seeing and where are you seeing them?
Any band?
Any band, yeah.
Oh, man, that's so
I know. You
hard,
see,
man.
you're a music guy, so I was like, these are sweet rapid questions, but I'm making you think on these.
I probably wanna revisit, there's a band from Canada,
Yep.
your homeland, that I saw in a church in New York
Oh,
City,
yep.
and it was probably one of my most favorite music experiences. It's a band called Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Okay.
It is like a post rock, like orchestral rock. It is a multi-piece band, and their music is very ethereal and just amazing.
Oh,
And
wow.
seeing them, I would love to revisit that experience again. I mean, they've toured, they still tour, they're still
Yeah.
together. But that experience, off the top of my head, that's I would love to have that experience again, seeing them in an arena like that. It's not an arena,
Yeah.
it's a church, but the
Yeah.
sound of it, everything was just amazing.
Oh, that is
I've
awesome.
seen them in an opera house, I've seen them in a church, and I've seen them in, like, a VFW basement,
Yeah.
and I saw them at a place called the Wetlands in New York City that was I've seen them in a variety of places, but the
Yeah.
church experience, that's probably gotta be it.
Oh, I'll have to check them out. I've never heard of them before. And like, anybody who hears you're from Canada is like, oh, you only have like three musical bands up there.
No, there's a lot of Canadian bands, man.
Yeah.
A lot of Canadian bands.
Yeah. One of our favorite, one of Canada's favorites, and one of my favorites, but never cracked down here was the Tragically Hip. And
I know
that
of the band. I was never a
yeah.
fan, never not a fan, just didn't
Yeah.
know them that well, but I heard them. Yep.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's one of the advantages of I live down here in the States, being from Canada, is seeing some of these bands that are back home. You know, scalpers would hire homeless people to line up in lines to get tickets to go see them. Like they'll play like
For
Air
sure.
Canada Center.
Yeah.
So when they come down here, like we saw them in Albany in like a strip mall, and this is like you look around and you can pick out all the other Canadians because they're there with like big bright eyes, like looking around, it's like, oh my god, we're seeing the hip here. And so
Right?
that's one of the
Yeah.
advantages. It's like when you see that band that you just know is awesome and you just see them in like a little venue, it's just so cool.
Yeah, that is my preferred music experience. Actually, when I was a kid, when I was, like, a teenager, I actually got started my own promotion company
Oh,
and
no
did
way.
yeah, I was really heavy into, like, the whole DIY music scene in the tri-state area,
Yeah.
mostly focusing on, like, punk rock and
Yeah.
hardcore and everything in between, but, I would rent out, like, VFW halls and Masonic temples and things like
Yeah.
that, and put on shows there, and, it taught me a lot about business, and it taught me a heck of a lot more about how it's not as glamorous as people think.
Yeah.
I dealt with a lot of egos but I did it, I really did do it, like, at that point, I was a dumb kid. I actually had a really good job, and made decent money,
Yeah.
and so I didn't care about making money. It was all about the bands and getting bands through our area, so I
Yeah.
all the money I made pretty much went right back into the business,
Oh, that's
like, I didn't
cool.
I would worry about paying my bands more than I would worry about making money. As long as I broke even, I was good.
Yep. Ah, that's cool. Any bands that stuck out like, wow, that was a good act, or, diamonds in a
Um,
rough?
I mean, there was a lot of bands that I booked that, they were big for the scene, but they may not
Yeah.
be big for our listeners here. I
Yeah.
mean, I booked a band called The Refused from, Europe. I mean, they're one of the more iconic post-hardcore bands, of all time,
Yeah.
like, it's either you know them or you don't.
Yeah.
I booked Snapcase, I booked, a band called Braid, but actually got pretty popular, but then they broke up and became other bands,
Okay.
Hey Mercedes and a few other bands. Bob Nana is, like, the songwriter that he's a well-known in singer-songwriter circles, he's a well-known
Yeah.
musician, he's a really talented guy.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
that's cool.
I booked a variety of stuff. I mean, I was in a band, multiple bands back then too, but I
Yeah.
was just trying to keep the music scene alive. Back then, there was a thriving musical scene, and I just wanted to bring it towards me. Now
Yeah.
it's so hard, post-pandemic is even harder than ever, but even
Oh, yeah.
before that, these big venues, a lot of big venues shut down,
Yep.
and so more areas of the country became flyover areas for bands, not because the bands didn't care about their fans in that area, but
Yeah.
because there wasn't viable venues.
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, that's
But
cool.
yeah,
Now,
so I mean,
when we're
music was like a big part of it. It's still a big part of my life, even if I'm not in
now,
a band.
when you were talking about that era you were booking the bands, what, like, were we talking early 2000, 90s?
Mid to late '90s.
Okay.
Into the early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I it was not very I was already done well before 9/11 happened and things
Yeah.
like that, and that had its own impact on the music
Oh
scene
God,
too.
yeah.
The wetlands I mentioned before, that was probably one of the premier places for, like, traveling bands to play in New York
Yeah.
City, and the collapse of that whole lower downtown region
Yeah.
pretty much impacted that place. They shut down. It was a
Oh shoot.
tragic loss for the music culture within New York City
Yeah.
with wetlands shutting down.
Ah, yeah. I listened to a podcast, Broken Record, Rick Rubin's one, and I had no idea. First of all, he was a DJ in the Beastie Boys, but he was talking about like the music scene back then. And it must have been like so cool, down in that area.
Yeah, that's a whole other animal that I never even really knew. I mean,
Yeah.
I was going to matinee shows at CBGB's back when I was like 13,
Oh
14
wow.
years old. And so I saw that kind of stuff, but there was a
Yeah.
whole I mean, with any mutual if I mention music to you and you tell me your 5 favorite bands and I tell
Yep.
you my 5 favorite, it's we may have no connection because music is so dynamic and so
Yep.
wide ranged, you know? And it's the
Yeah.
very same thing within music scenes. There could be a whole thriving underground house and drum and bass scene and
Yeah.
a whole underground, punk and hardcore scene, and there could be no crossover.
Yep.
It's there's other separate amoebas of entities growing within this culture. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
It is really neat. So, speaking of drum and bass, I just had John B on, and I had no idea about that, how big of a scene that is, and it was just, yeah, that was an eye opener.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's a good guy. I was happy to see you had him on. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
cool.
that was cool. But you're right about music, and we're growing up when I did, we didn't have the internet or anything like that, so you just had to, unfortunately, we listened to MTV, so you had 120 minutes was really the, where you got
Ah, I
some of
love
that
that show.
alternative. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
good times.
You know, I
And
you know, I'm sorry. Talking about that, that's even funny. I don't even think about that until it's reminded to me. But, like,
yeah,
back then when I was doing those shows I did, there wasn't an internet,
yeah.
and I had to go to, like, Kinko's or Staples and print out
Oh my
500
God.
1,000 copies of a flyer, and I'd have to go to other shows and hand them out, and I'd have to go to record stores all throughout the tri-state area and put them down on, like they would often have, like, a little table you could put flyers for shows
Yeah,
down on and stuff there was the internet was around, but it wasn't like, you know, it's a part of everyone's life now. It's on your phone. It's
exactly.
on your
Yeah,
fridge,
yeah,
I mean, it's a part of everything now. But back then, only
yeah,
the well-to-do really had internets and
yeah.
had computers to really take a part in that.
Yeah. Well, you think about, going to, like, back home, going to a big concert or whatnot. Nobody had a phone back then. And it's like, how did you meet up with friends at like large venues with, 100,000 people? It was just, yeah, it was crazy how things all worked out back then.
I remember thinking I hit a gold mine when I went to one of my first Lollapaloozas
Ah,
when the pit was over and
yeah,
the show is over and everyone's walking out. If you look around and look down on the pit, I had a box that I brought home, like a little box,
yeah.
about 30 pagers,
Oh my
pagers
God.
that they were lost in the pit. And I was like, "Look at all these pagers, how I can sell these pagers." I sold them back to, like, pager places
Yeah.
for a few bucks. It was pretty
That's
freaking
too
funny.
funny. Yeah, you hit a nerve there with Lollapalooza. That was probably one of my most favorite concerts ever. It was the second Lollapalooza with Red Hot Chili Peppers, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Ice Cube. I'm missing one. Ministry and
Yeah.
you had and Pearl Jam. Oh my
Yep.
God, that was just
Yeah, I
unbelievable.
was there. Yeah, I was at a lot of
Nice.
those.
Yeah. I missed the first one though with Jane's and
Yeah, I didn't go to the first one either. Yeah.
Ice T and his body count. Yeah, so that
Yeah.
was that's
Yeah,
so
I didn't go to
awesome.
many of them, to be honest, but
Yeah.
I did go to a few back then, like, pretty much when Warped Tour became a thing,
Yep.
that was my preferred
Okay.
traveling festival. I was very much into a lot of bands that played Lollapalooza,
Yep.
but I was much more into the more of the I'm gonna call it underground, but all those bands were signed. They weren't underground,
Yes.
but they were
Yeah.
just less popular, less radio
Yep.
friendly. That was
Yeah.
more my scene.
Cool. And yeah, you think about today's music, there's just so much music. Like finding that band you've never, just it's so vast and when you talk to other people who like music, it's like, "Oh yeah, check out these guys or these guys." And
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
It's so cool.
Yeah, music discovery has become really hard too.
Mm-hmm.
Me and friends of mine talk about it all the time. Like you kind of have to. It used to be like I remember when I was like high school, college age. Like we had college radio stations,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
you listen to them, and like it's just like 120 minutes, just like MTV.
Yep.
You had ways to find bands that you liked.
Yep.
And now it's kind of like you could either depend on your Pandora or your
Mm-hmm.
Spotify algorithm, or you
Yep.
got to put work in.
Right.
Like my Twitter feed is either Tarkov streamers
Yeah.
stuff or bands and labels.
Yeah.
I try to not follow anything else. I have a whole different account for all my political stuff that I don't wanna
Yeah.
talk about here.
Nope. Uh-uh.
And even, like, the science stuff, like, I'm really big into NASA, and I'm not that I have any knowledge of science and engineering, but it's a it fa fan it fascinates me.
Yep.
So, I put all that stuff in a totally different Twitter account so I don't have to see it when I'm worrying about my business,
Yep.
worrying about
Mm-hmm.
what's going on with streaming and with content creation and
Yep.
with content. Music, I consider part of content, so I put it all together.
Yeah. Ah, very cool. We knocked off a bunch of my questions here. It's like, what's your background and things like that, where you grew up. So I was like, you grew up, in New Jersey, New York, love the music. And now how did you end up being a firefighter?
I'm second generation. My father is
Oh,
a
nice.
firefighter. Yeah. I've got uncles that are firefighters. My baby brother's a firefighter. I got cousins that are firefighters. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
we come from a public service family.
Yep.
My father's side of the family mostly, although I have some on my mother's side as well.
Yep.
But my dad, this is actually really crazy. And it's actually a story. And a lot of people that know me through Evasion and through like the Tarkov community just don't know.
Yep.
But when I was a kid, um, I would think I was about 7 years old, 8 years old. I can't remember the exact age I was, but either way, my grandparents lived in a high-rise building, a seven-story building in, my town,
Yep.
and the guy that lived below us was stripping his linoleum from the floor of his
Yeah.
kitchen, and he was using gasoline,
Oh my God.
and he was smart. He turned off the gas of his stove, turned out the pilots of his stove, pretty much unplugged everything,
Yeah.
and now he's stripping the linoleum from his whole apartment with gasoline. But the one thing he didn't take care of was his refrigerator.
Oh.
And when the compressor of the refrigerator clicked on,
Oh.
the whole apartment
Oh
exploded.
my God.
And him and his wife ended up trapped in their back bedroom, like screaming from the windows, screaming for help. They had their door closed, whatever. And
Yeah.
my grandmother, myself, and my cousin were trapped above the fire. The
Holy
apartment
crap.
below us, yeah, so and back then, my father was waiting to get on the fire department.
Yeah.
He was already trying to get on. A good friend of his got on, and he was waiting to get on. He actually, like, had to lead the firefighters into the building to show them the best way to get up to where
Yeah.
we were and all that stuff, and not with
Oh.
I'd say within 5 years, he became a firefighter,
Yeah.
and, I I tried to get on right after high school.
Yeah.
It didn't happen because I have a lead foot.
Yeah.
I got my license and decided, "Let's ruin this privilege that I've earned," and I got pulled over for speeding way too much.
Oh.
And so I took the test. I really did well on the test, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, you're right in. Come on right in." And then as they did the the secondary, the first real interview, they looked at my driving record. They're like, "We can't hire you. Like, you got you got more points than the 5 guys behind you combined. We can't hire you. Get out of here." So I was just like, "Oh, well, that's not for me." And I went on. I actually really had a heavy interest in English. I wanted to be a writing teacher,
Oh, okay.
and so I went to college for that. But
Yeah.
I came from pretty humble means. I mean, I grew up very poor,
Yeah.
and I had to pay for my own way through college, and so I was doing that after high school. And
Yeah.
when 9/11 happened, that probably directly impacted me the most it could without being there.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other people that were, the people that lost their loved ones, they were impacted more than I can ever be, and I'm not trying to diminish that.
Yeah.
But I had a job that was contracted through the government that I got laid off from because immediately
Yeah.
they started cutting budgets for everything.
Yeah.
Had to drop out of college. Had to ended
Oh,
up
wow.
evicted. I was living out of my car. Like it went from I have the whole world in the palm of my hand
Yeah.
to I'm living in my car.
Oh my
you know,
God.
um, but yeah, my dad reached out to me and said, "Hey, there's another application coming back around, but you're gonna have to move back home." like
Yeah.
back into the city. You had to live in the city to get on the fire department. And I'm like,
Right.
well, I'd like to live somewhere. I I don't I don't like this whole not living anywhere thing.
Yeah.
I was very prideful, and my family would have taken me in at any time.
Yeah.
But I was like, I mean, geez, I don't remember how old I was when 9/11 happened. I think 24. But either way, I was very prideful. I had
Yeah.
moved out when I was 18 years old and living on my own all that time, and suddenly I couldn't make it. I didn't want to admit to anyone that I needed help.
Yeah.
But yeah, once that he told me that application was coming in, it was time to try again. I moved back home, and here I am. I mean,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
doing this for 16 years now, almost
Yeah.
17 years.
Holy cow. That's wild. That's a
Yeah.
great story. Holy, coming, like you said, riding those highs and then hitting a low and then, getting back up on your feet and being successful. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a heavy part of it was luck, and
Yeah.
opportunity, but I mean,
A
I
lot. That's life that way, though, too,
it
just
sure
being in
is,
the
yeah.
right spot at the right time sometimes.
Yep, for sure.
Cool. So now, wait, we've had this whole conversation so far and we haven't even talked about gaming. So when did gaming start for you?
My first gaming platform was an Odyssey 2.
Oh my God.
An Odyssey 2 came out, like, a couple years before I was born, a year before I was born or something. It was,
Yeah.
it was like the pre-Atari
Yeah.
gaming. It basically was the same game.
Yeah.
Like, it had, like, 4 games, and it was basically, like, the same game. Similar, like, how you envision what Pong was, just turn
Mm-hmm.
it sideways, and that was, like, their basketball, ends
Yes.
their hockey, and then you
Uh-huh.
turn it back to Pong, and now it's like, it was hilarious back then, but I started with that. I think my mom had won, like, some tricky tray, and I got a Nintendo Entertainment System. I was the first kid on my block to have one.
Oh wow.
Not because I was rich, but because my mom got lucky at a tricky tray and won it type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I went on from there. I was never actually I had a TurboGrafx 16. I had
Yeah.
a NES. I had the Super NES. I missed the whole GameCube thing.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do GameCube. I was late to PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
I kept being a part and not a part of my life a lot through the years,
Yeah.
depending on where I was in my life, but it
Right.
always was fun when I could.
Yeah.
And, I started playing when I think I had the Xbox 360. I think I started playing Battlefield.
Yeah.
When Battlefield Bad Company came out, that game pulled me in, like,
Yeah.
pulled me in. I love that game, and I started playing with teams, and I had, like, this little, Battlefield team crew that I
Yeah.
played with, and eventually, I had to get a computer for that schoolwork that I was talking about,
Yeah.
and, I got on PC and started playing, and I found the Battlefield PC game and eventually Arma.
Yeah. Okay.
Arma was what really, like, that pulled me in and took over my life. I pretty much only played Arma for, like, a decade. I mean, I played other games too, but it was like I played
Yeah.
all the Elder Scrolls was, like, my fantasy, like, not playing multiplayer. I would play with all the Fallout, Elder Scrolls, like Morrowind and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
Arma was the one all be all. I ended up eventually becoming, like, um, uh, the leader of a milsim group, which was, like, at this point, like, a decade ago,
Yeah.
maybe a little less, maybe a little less. We were Arma 2, and I was in that for a while, and then I just kinda got burned out with that, and,
Yeah.
perfect timing was when I found the early, like, 7 years ago, the early trailer video for EFT.
Okay.
Back when it was even showing, like, third person,
Right.
like, they had planned on having third person perspective in the game and things like
Yeah.
that, but I watched, a couple of videos and a stream about it. I don't even remember. I watched right up on it, and I just thought, "This is cool." Like, I was already
Yeah.
into, like, the really realistic type of thing with Arma, but I found, like,
Mm-hmm.
all those key bindings, and quite
Oh
frankly, the
God.
worst part of Arma, in my opinion, isn't even the key bindings,
Yeah.
it's making the campaign.
Yes. Yep.
There is no campaign made for you. You gotta make it. Yeah, other people can make it, and you could use other people's, but,
Yeah.
you want it to be authentic, and you want it to be yours, and so that part of it made me not I just stopped enjoying it because of
Yeah.
how much work it took to build the campaign that we would have to then play.
Yeah.
I had left
Okay.
the Milsim group, I backed EFT,
Yep.
and the rest is from there. I mean,
Wow.
I played the closed, I played the, early open and played from there. I didn't play every wipe full through,
Yeah.
some of the wipes we had, some of the patches were unplayable,
Yeah.
and that's why I went back to playing a little Arma here or some
Yeah.
Battlefield or some other games. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the game, the vision for the game. I don't think their vision has ever actually changed. I think the technology has changed and therefore they've adjusted a little bit, but they really
Yeah.
haven't. I don't think they've strayed from what they convinced me when I early backed it what the game would be,
Yeah.
and I'm still with it. I still think it's the best game out
Oh
there.
God.
It has its faults, but I think
Yep.
I'd rather support a small,
Mm-hmm.
homegrown company that's building something on a passion project rather than look what we have with all the
Oh.
games. I won't smear
Right. Yeah.
any developers that are out there, the big developers or but the AAA developers,
Yeah.
they make deep end promises and give you a kiddie pool results. I mean,
It
it's just
absolutely. Yeah. It's
so
yeah, it's because yeah, like you said, you Battlefield Bad Company is such a great game, and then to where things are today, it's not that level, and like what
yeah.
you echoed about Arma, like I never got into Arma. I always saw videos of people playing it, and it looked really cool, and then I picked it up. I was like, "Wow, I gotta create stuff. It was just wasn't. I couldn't just jump in and do these campaigns and whatnot. Like you had to go find it, get the mods or
Yeah.
patches or
Yeah,
whatnot.
I
It's
mean, you could
just
download the campaign, but even then, it's not, you were stuck with what other people made.
yeah,
And, you know,
yeah,
it was a great thing for a long time. I
yeah,
met some really great people. I could jump into their team speak. That organization still exists, although they became a little bit multi gaming.
yeah.
But they still exist. And I could hop in there at any time and talk to the same guys, and I'm still friends with them. But
Cool.
it's just not. No, I'm not coming back. I can't do Milsim anymore. Even with this new Arma coming out, like they're talking
Yeah,
Arma 4, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool." And I immediately thought, "Hey, maybe," but I'm like, you know what? I've got other focuses now. I can't.
yeah.
Just can't. I bought it and refunded it right away. I didn't even
Uh,
play it.
cool. Now with Tarkov, so it is such an amazing game, isn't it? How it just grabs you, and it's just for me, it's ruined playing so many games because I'll go dabble with something, is like something tugs at me to just come back and play it again.
For sure. For
Yeah,
sure. And you can have your guilty pleasures. You can go. I mean, I think Marauders was fun.
yeah,
I like this cycle. There's plenty of other games out there that I enjoy, but it doesn't have that. I mean, this is my culture, right? Like
yeah,
this is my just picking that game back up. I prefer to play in groups. I like playing
yeah,
duos or trios, although I can play solo. I don't nearly play as much now as I used to. I mean, Evasion, when the wipe kicks in,
yeah.
not to, we usually have like maybe 4 to 8 weeks to let the wipe develop, and then we
Yeah.
start doing our events. But now
Hmm.
with the private servers,
Yeah.
we can start working a little earlier and even sooner. But yeah, the past two seasons of Evasion, I haven't played nearly as much EFT as I wanted to.
Yeah.
Mostly because I was already burned out of EFT before I played it. I was too
Right.
busy working on the back end of Evasion,
Yeah.
doing our thing. And I'm not even really that central to the organization. There are plenty of people. I mean, I'm incredibly blessed to be surrounded by an incredible team.
Yeah.
Um, Sigma has her goal, and the growth of the team has been right in
Yeah.
the sense that initially it was like there were 5 of us, and we
Yeah.
were just trying to make events happen. And the team has grown. And Sigma started realizing, I can't do everything. I can't cast and do all these other things.
Yeah.
Let's bring on some casters, you know, and me and the people who are battle modding. We didn't really have a head battle mod back then. We just were the people who battle modded, and
Yeah.
Sigma was like, "No, we need a team of people to do this. Let's get a leadership thing." And
Yeah.
Garland and I picked it up from there.
Oh, that's so
Um,
cool.
but the growth of the team, the members of the team, and really that core. I mean, I'd say there was like a core 10 people,
Yeah.
12 people that are like, actually, yeah, I'd say around now it's about 8 to 10 people that they're incredible. Like they're
Yeah.
just we all have the same passion. We all have the same vision. Do
Yeah.
we do we hope that one day Evasion's bigger than we can ever imagine? Of course, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
But what we have right now, what we bring the community and the events we create, and the fact that we have a nod from BSG to say, hey,
Yeah.
you guys can do what you want with this, within means.
Yeah.
Let's make this fun. It's a really good blessing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is awesome what you guys do over there. So now just back to Tarkov for a little bit. So, over the years of playing it, is there a particular map that stuck out for you that you really like playing?
Interchanges Bay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interchange is Bay. It's like the map. Like when you let me choose, I'm gonna pick Interchange. As long as I believe everyone else in the group will be willing to play it, right?
Right.
Everyone has their preference. I mean, I like customs. I
Yeah.
especially like it after the second expansion.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this first expansion they like went in the wrong direction in the sense that like I thought they
Right.
were always going to open up that second expansion area.
Yeah.
When they started talking about it, I was like, well, this makes sense. You have this weird little L shape. You're
Right.
going to fill in this L shape, and then they went out there. But yeah, customs is great. But I would say for sure, Interchange and Woods are my two favorite
Yeah.
maps. You
Yeah,
know.
Interchange is mine just for that immersion factor. Everybody's got them all, and you if you're playing paintball or you just always think about like it'd be cool to do something like that in a mall, and then you're in this like dark mall, and it's just you don't know where people are going to come from, and there's so many layers that you can attack from the basement or the yeah. It's I really enjoy it. I know it catches a lot of flack because of lighting, but it is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I do. I wish they would revert some of the lighting changes, but
Hmm.
I mean, they're always working on things, and right
Yeah.
now, a prime focus of theirs is on the new maps, right?
Yep.
They need to do that. I feel like it's very likely they'll go back to that and readdress it again in due time,
Yeah.
and I'm just looking forward to it. But the new maps they've been coming out with, Lighthouse is amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, I think Terminal looks great. I can't wait. Obviously, everyone talks about Streets. Streets is the end all be all. Like
Yes.
I mean,
Hmm.
I don't think I don't think you can ever compare what Streets will end up being to what these other maps are. So I don't
Yeah.
even like including that in the conversation. But I
Right.
mean, every map has its strength and its weakness, but
Yep.
Interchange is Bay.
Yeah.
Period.
Oh, definitely. So now, what was it about Tarkov that took a hold of you?
Well, I mean, I love the risk factor.
Yeah.
I liked the fact that I did not like when I died and lost everything, but
Yeah.
I knew when I killed someone, their gear was mine.
Yes.
As long as
Yep.
I got out, their gear was mine. There was something at risk. It wasn't just this ticket based, team
Mm-hmm.
versus team. Just keep, this magic clown car of soldiers. Just the doors open, and every
Right.
time you die, another clown comes out.
I like that. That's a good one. Yeah.
It was, you go in and there's a risk.
Yep.
Had that realism feel, but it wasn't overly realistic in the sense that I didn't have to pull a scum and find a
Mm-hmm.
corner to pop a squat in or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
you know, the controls are very complex, but that also resulted in me having really good physical manipulation of the player character to lean and peek and
Yeah.
prone and all the. I loved every aspect of that. But the risk was probably the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about bravado. There was actually a reward for playing tactically. Obviously we can get into the whole sidebar conversation of bush camping and extract
Yeah.
camping and all that other stuff, but ignoring all of that, when I first found the game, and the first time I ever played against a person, the AI would kill you from across the map when I first started
Yes.
playing anyway. It took me a long time to actually get a
Yeah.
PvP fight that I realized was actual PvP. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that. But just the control, the feel, the wind, the audio. I mean, obviously it's got its faults as well, but
Yes. Yeah.
but the fact that I can hear you click your safety off, click
Yes.
your and I know you're right around the bend just from your own personal reveal. It was an awesome feeling. It's a
Yeah.
really great game, man.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. The and some people don't realize those those early quests where you had to there was a time limit on those or kill like 20 bears in factory. It's like there wasn't a lot of people playing factory enough to get that to
Yeah,
knock that
exactly.
quest out. Yeah, so it's crazy how the quests have developed too. So now what? So you say like playing solos and teams. What I've found in this game, it really tests friendships and shows how poor of communicators we are. With the who's the where are you? I'm over here. I'm over there. That type of thing.
Yeah, I tried carrying over some of my whole milsim call out thing
Yeah.
with with the people I play with EFT and found out very quickly that I'm playing with just a different group of people.
Yeah.
That's a little too nerdy for majority of the people that play the game. And quite frankly, back then when I first started really playing and playing with other people, there wasn't a working compass anyway.
Yeah.
You didn't have any mill dots that you can use as call outs. You didn't know what direction was what until the compass was added. And even then, it wasn't viable to pull out your compass mid firefight and be like, oh,
Yeah.
he's northwest of me, so it really tested that. And you had to start coming up with the call out system, which I think is great. I do wish that there was a little more standardization in that call out
Yes.
system.
Oh my god,
You
some
could
of the
play with
callouts.
two friends, Friday night, and then you play with two different friends Saturday night, and it's a totally different list of
Yeah,
call outs for the same map.
yeah,
But you got to make it work. You got to be dynamic. But I think friendships were tested for sure. But I feel like you just start not playing with the people that you don't vibe
yeah,
with well.
yeah.
Which has its own sad parts to it too. But
Mhm.
there's
Yeah.
always new people. I
Oh,
mean, there's
absolutely.
plenty of looking for group channels, and
Yeah.
right now, actually happening right now, with the PvP takeovers that like Nixia has been
Yeah.
doing, and other organizations are doing it too. But we started doing it like during the trios.
Yeah.
The people that are all playing trios needed to play, and they wanted to play more. And PvP takeovers have been a thing forever.
Yeah.
But the organization, the fact that we had like 150 people that are about to play in trios, and they all were looking to just practice, and we all got together on these servers, and I'm helping Nixie out in a minor role, how
Yeah.
I can with what she's doing there. They do Tarkov speed dating, where everyone has to be a duo, but you're just randomly partnered up with people. And I've
Oh,
found that found some people I mesh really well with,
yeah.
and like had a few people already say, "Hey, but let's run duos sometime." Like we had fun.
Oh,
So it's a
that's
pretty
cool.
fun and interesting mix to it all, to
Yeah.
make it interesting. And we had real fun with that.
Oh, that's that sounds fun. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, when you were talking about the common callouts and whatnot, and going nerdy with the milsim and whatnot, I actually had a special forces guy on a little while ago, and that was my conversation with him. Like, what's your callouts and how did that work versus trying to play a game with other people or other mill people, and it was interesting. He basically did took customs and sort of did, hey, if we were doing a mission, here's how our callouts would be, and it was pretty cool to hear that aspect of things.
I didn't catch that one. I'll have to catch that one to see it.
Yeah, it's
It sounds like
event.
an interesting conversation.
Oh, yeah, Uneventful Gamer's his name, and he's current Special Forces, 15 years. And when he's talking about his work tool, I was like, he showed a picture of his M4. I was like, oh yeah, work tool. Okay, that's kind of that's cool. I don't know many people that can say their work tool is an M4 or yeah. It was when he was talking about the one thing that really stuck out for me is like he was doing close quarter breaching over in Afghanistan, and talking about how his go-to tool was the Bernoulli shotgun because when you get shot by that, you don't get back up. And he goes like, yeah, when you get hit by an M4, it's like a bee sting. There's plenty of fight left in you. I was like, wow, okay, you're talking from experience. That's wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
definitely check that one out. That was yeah, really cool guy. So so now you've played with a lot of cool people. If you had to pick out an all-star squad that you call out right now and they're going to roll a 5-man raid with you, who would you call out?
With me?
Yes,
Oh boy.
OGs present. This is
I'm
the
going,
all-star crew.
but I diminished their capabilities by being on the team too. Hold on,
No, that's
that's
okay
not
though.
fair to them.
It's you're having fun. They're there. You
I
called
know.
their
I'm just
name,
being
and
funny.
I know.
Um, well, I mean, wow. Okay. Oh, this is not fair. Obviously, region lock doesn't matter and all that.
Nope, nope, doesn't not at all.
All right. Well, if I'm looking to win,
Yeah.
if I'm looking to have fun,
All right, well,
what
let's go
do,
two. Let's go win, and then we'll pick a have fun.
okay, so win, I think I'd have to go with and I'm just gonna go with like people I know. So
Yeah.
if I don't mention someone's favorite streamer, it's probably because I don't know them very well, and I'm not of the presumption that Landmark would play with me. He has no idea who the heck I am, and I
I
don't
know it
blame him.
doesn't matter. Anybody, you name them, they are there. You call
But I'm
Pestily.
but I'm gonna go with the people I know
All
instead,
right.
just to make it reasonable for me because it's in my brain because I
Yeah.
can't start listing all the other people that I don't know well or don't play with or
Yeah.
anything. Um, I'd have to say to win, I would pick Red Ops.
Yep.
I would pick. Oh man, I'm really on the spot here. I'm not enjoying this at all.
All right. Three more.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Hayes,
Okay.
Sheaf,
Yeah.
and Robin.
Oh, yeah. That's a good crew. You're
Yeah,
gonna come out of victory there.
if I'm trying to win, that's probably my team.
All right. So that's your serious team. So now not you're not so serious team then.
Looking to have fun,
Yep.
I would have to say I have to have Jeepo there because who else can I beat up on? I mean, I
Yeah.
mean, Jeepo has to be there because he's probably the only guy that would let me abuse him so much without coming back too hard until he sneaks up on me and gets me the right way. Um, Gino for sure.
Yeah.
Nixia.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh boy, fun. Give me more fun. Who am I laughing with? Blitzer girl.
Okay.
And last laugh. Blank.
Okay.
Although he could easily have been on the competitive,
Yeah.
the want to win team too. But Blank, he and I get along pretty well, and he's very capable, but he's also capable of having the piss and making
Yeah.
it a great time. So,
Cool. All right. So now we've gone through Tarkov. Next step up on Tarkov is Evasion. So how did you get hooked up with Sigma and Hotel? Where did that all start?
um, it all started on a lie.
Okay.
There used to be a Tarkov streamer. I mean, I think he still streams intermittently, but I don't think he streams Tarkov as much anymore. But a guy named Goody7,
Okay.
and I ended up being a somewhat regular viewer of his. And there was a night where he raided Sigma, and he told chat, "We're gonna go raid my sister." He meant sister because at the time they were both in the same like content creation stream team.
Okay.
But I didn't know that, and
Yeah.
in my ignorance, literally thought, "Oh wow, this is Goody's sister."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, then I have to start supporting her too because I like Goody, so I have to start supporting her. So that's how I ended up in her channel. Period.
Oh, no way.
And I'm not joking. I think it was 3 years. I think it was about 3 years before I ever found out that they weren't brother and
Oh
sister.
my God.
Because it was something that never came up. It was just something I
Right.
just assumed was a reality. And then at one point, I'm like, "Oh, well, I haven't even seen your brother and blah, blah." And she's like, "My brother? Who the hell are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Goody." And she's like, "What? Goody's not my brother." And I'm like, "What? I've been living a lie for
Oh.
2 years." I mean, it just never came up. So I just
Yeah.
assumed that that's a fact and that's that. And, there are other relatives that stream.
Mm-hmm.
Their cousins and brothers and sisters that stream, and they just have their own path that they're taking. They don't try to utilize like, "Oh, that's my sister, this is my brother" type of thing or
Right.
cousin or whatever. Like they want to do their own. They want to be their own content creator, their own
Yep.
products, right? So I just assumed her. She's not. No one's trying to ride off of anyone else's coattails. They're just existing as they exist. That
Yep.
I had no idea. But yeah, so that's how I ended up in her channel.
Oh my
And
God.
she at the time was pretty much the only female Tarkov streamer that I knew of. If there were other ones back then, I just didn't know of them. And there's always streamers you don't know.
Right.
But I found her ability to be incredible. I
Yep.
mean, I was blown away when I found out that that was like one of the first PC shooters she ever played.
Yeah.
Um, and the community was fun.
Yep.
And I had been there for a while and eventually had become like a channel mod along with other channel mods, but I was just a pretty heavy supporter long before then
Yep.
anyway. And she started doing the streamer battles and they needed an extra person to do scoring. And
Oh, okay.
I'm like kind of one of the things that I gained from my time with Milston was really learning how to use documents.
Yep.
And I'm a document nerd, so I can do scoring, and
Yep.
I started using their score sheet, and after like I don't know, a couple of rounds of games, a couple of months of playing, I was like, "Hold on, we can make this better." Like this score sheet sucks. It doesn't
Yeah.
suck. I mean, for what it was worth and for what we were doing, it was perfectly fine. But I've been like, no, I can make it do the score for us automatically, and I can make this better. And that's kind of how that
Oh, cool.
started. Was just I started making the score sheets and being there, and then as it eventually became a bigger and bigger thing,
Yep.
and we needed battle mods. I was a battle mod. I did stream for a very short period of time,
Yep.
um, but I was not streaming, and whereas other people, you had to be a streamer to be a part of the event, so it
Yep.
made sense. I'm not a streamer, but I can be involved this way,
Yep.
and that's what I did.
Oh, no way. And now, how years later, to see where it's come from, it's got to be pretty impressive. pretty proud to be a part of that organization.
I mean, listen, we started with like a bunch of people bored, late wipe, just trying to have fun, creating
Yeah.
content, and now we're working. I mean, within a month ago, I had a meeting with people from BSG. You know,
Oh my God.
like we have conversations with the makers of the
Yeah.
game. That is a dream in and of itself. Like, how
Yeah.
can you ever think that you could do something for passion and fun and end up finding out like, I mean, that'd be like doing a cover band and finding
Yeah.
out that the band that you're covering wants you to play with them. You know, it's
Yeah.
and they're not paying me, they're not hired me. I'm not hired by BSG or anything to that capacity,
Yeah.
but still, they acknowledge us, they respect us, and they want, they like what we do for the community and for their game.
Hmm.
And it's incredible. It's a dream.
Yeah, that is so cool. Like when Sigma was on, she spoke very highly of you and Garlem and Hotel, obviously Hotel, but how you guys are just, you figured things out. I think she added something new. I don't know, I can't remember what it was called, but it was driving her crazy. Hotel took it and just, figured it out. I think it was like a switching system or something like that, and just the whole back end piece of
Oh,
it.
that's probably the production platform. We
Yes,
switched from going from OBS to using vMix.
that's what it was. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and any platform you pick is going to have its shortcomings, and I'm not the person to talk about that system.
yeah,
Hotel really is,
yeah,
but it's more of a professional system, and it shows, like
yeah.
what our end result is. There are some handcuffs to it. There
Hmm.
are some things you can't do that you can do in OBS, but
Yeah,
overall, I mean, you can't really have a 150 team event go smoothly with OBS. You
no,
can, but it's a hell of a lot of work.
yeah,
And it's just and if you want it, you got to make your choice. You want quality, or do you want like accessibility? And
right.
Sigma made the choice and said, no, we're going to put the money out and buy this program and learn this program. And Hotel hit the ground running.
Yeah,
I can't speak enough highly enough with like for a person that was not in production
yeah,
to do all he's done to learn production and to learn the back end of stuff. I mean, computers were kind of part of his deal
yeah,
in life anyway, but he really has hit the ground running, and we're still learning new stuff every season.
yeah.
New things that he can do to make it better.
And you hit a good point there. The production value of an evasion event is nothing else touches it in our community. It is just so well done. How everything is, it goes so smoothly. Between and everybody has different roles. Like you have, the casters are doing their thing. You have the battle mods, and then you got the production people in the back end of it. It's just so well done.
Did you say go smoothly? Good,
Okay, what
good,
we
good. I'm glad
what
you
you
think it
see
does.
is different than what we see
Oh,
on the other
absolutely,
side of the curtain. But yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely, yeah. No,
Yeah, it's like a guy playing his first song, for the first time live. Like he
yeah,
knows he messed up. Meanwhile, the audience is in love with it, and
yep,
but I messed up on the chord progression. No one knows. They don't know what you meant to do. They just know what you did, and they loved it.
yeah,
Be happy.
yeah. Or like that bride at her wedding. She knows what's supposed to happen, and if it doesn't, you just roll with it. Yeah, no, absolutely. So now, from a battle mod standpoint, how like do you guys, without going into the secret sauce or whatnot, every team, do they get their own battle mod, or is like a battle mod to sort of keep them watch on a couple of different teams?
In general, our goal is to have a battle mod with each team,
Yeah,
and to have the head battle mod supervising that.
yeah,
So, I
okay,
mean, in a perfect world where all of my battle mods are available and we have enough teams for all battle mods to cover every battle mod, that's what our goal is, to have a
yeah,
battle mod per team, and also two head battle mods sitting there watching the overall big picture, keeping an eye on the score sheet, keeping an eye on every stream they can.
yeah,
Like in general, now Garlem has moved on to another part of Evasion. He's working
yeah,
with team management and stuff like that. Now I'm working with Boosh,
yeah,
um, and yeah, it's just kind of the same. It's just the same machine, just different cogs, right?
yeah,
But yeah, that's what our goal is, to have it that we can try to make it that we don't have to battle mod. There
yeah,
are times I do.
yeah,
Unfortunately, it's a volunteer position. No one's
yeah,
getting paid,
right,
and we don't, unfortunately have had a few afternoons where we just didn't have everyone we have available. So I got to jump in, and it's
yeah,
okay. I know how to do
yeah,
it. I did it long ago. I could do it again. But yeah, ideally you have everyone. The point of the battle mod is that they're there for evasion, but they're also there for the competitors, right?
yeah,
So we want to make sure that the competitors have a full grip and understanding of what our rule set is.
yeah,
We don't want there to be a surprise. Now, unfortunately, there are plenty of streamers there's a common meme amongst battle mods and amongst streamers in general, right? Is that streamers don't read. And that is a rule. I mean, it's just a fact. And I
Yeah.
don't, and I hope I don't offend anyone because sorry, reality sucks. But streamers don't read; they
Yeah.
skim. You give them a piece of paper with all the rules, they're gonna skim it and go, "Okay, I'm ready to play."
Right.
They're too busy waiting to get to the next thing to create their content and have fun.
Yeah.
Um, and we're there to try to like, no, 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 no. Come, how about you actually have to grab the dog tag? Like you can't just look at it. You got to grab it. No, you
Yeah.
can't go here. And try to teach them the intricate ways in which we had some of our game rules. I mean, some of our game rules that we have had in the past, they're pretty complex compared to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Um, and I love it for that fact. We tried to focus on all the different aspects that create EFT with our game rules. It's
Yeah.
not just PvP kill win.
Right.
Eh,
That's the thing that separates what you can do within Tarkov is those special things.
yeah, and PvP kill win, it definitely has its place, and it's a fun part of the game for sure. But reminding people that map knowledge, ability to quickly loot and Tetris your way through,
Yeah.
and knowing how to get your movement, knowing how to be stealthy when you need to be, how to be quick when you need to be. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many aspects to the game that makes EFT better than
Mhm.
in the next paintball simulator shooter that comes
Right.
out.
Yeah.
And so we would have to make sure that they had that grip and understood all that. And then while the event's happening, we're there.
Yeah.
The, it's totally reasonable that any competitor could suddenly forget, Wait, did I need to grab an IFAC or did I need to grab, a Salewa to get
Yeah.
points? It's a Salewa. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We found it was a lot easier to have someone in voice comms with you than to
Yeah.
just hold on. Let me go back and refer to this PDF they sent me
Right.
while I'm getting shot at. No, you have
So
your answer.
so your battle mods really need to know all the rules so that, so that channel can be that those streamers can get that answer quickly so, so they have basically a line back to the rule sets.
Yeah, yeah, and one of the other things is like early on, very early on, when we were a lot less serious about evasion. And I
Yeah.
think even before we were evasion in name, it almost was like the secret sauce and how you won was what battle mod you ended up with.
Ah, okay, yeah.
If you found the battle mod that really knew the game mode,
Yeah.
you would have like the secret way
Ah,
in type of thing. And I definitely can't diminish any of the wins that people had back then. But
yeah.
what I'm saying is like we Garland and I recognized pretty early on when we started getting serious about evasion, when evasion existed, we couldn't let that exist anymore. It
Right.
didn't exist with any intention, but we couldn't even unintentionally allow that to exist.
Yeah.
So we started standardizing everything. We came up with a handbook. We came up with this is what the things everyone has to know. Like if you can't know these basic things and perform in this basic way, we're gonna have to hold you back until you can.
Yeah. Ah,
We
now it makes sense why the document because Sigma mentions like we have this great handbook that Brian did. It's like okay now because you just said you did all this you got your documentation from playing Arma and whatnot. So okay,
yeah.
pieces are coming together now. Because
Yeah.
I've had
A
Gar
and
I've had
and I
oh sorry
wasn't alone in coming up with that rule book.
yeah
Garlem had a big hand of it, and we had other, Filbo and Iron. They were battle mods back then. They
yeah
helped with their viewpoint. But I think the two of them have really good abilities to share insight to things and stuff like that.
yeah
I was happy to have ever, worked with them. They have
yeah
the hunt now, and that's their thing, and I'm proud of what they've done with that.
yeah
But yeah, all of us worked together and kind of combined. And even now, I mean, I only a month, not even a week ago, I sent out a message to all my battle mods and I said, "Hey, look over the handbook. Tell me what you think is lacking."
yeah
I want to hear from the people that are I mean, we have some that it's their first season or their second season. Now that you're a little bit in, your feet are wet. What do you wish you were told that wasn't in there? Let's
yeah
make sure that's in there. Let's always improve, always improve, always
yeah
improve. That's the
and
goal with everything.
yeah, and that's good that you have that mindset of let's take the feedback, not just push it forward. It's like here, this is the rule, you can't change it, and it's my opinion or our opinion. But that's good that you're taking in from people who are just coming on. They got a little experience. Okay, now give me your feedback. How can we make it better?
Yeah, I definitely can get a little headstrong and think my way is the best way.
Yeah,
I know that I'm capable of that, and I've had reminders. And part of being an adult
yep,
and working with a team is recognizing your limitation with that and saying, "Hey, I'm not going to
yep,
let that override me, and I'm going to open up and say, hey, no, I can't
yeah,
just be the end all because we all have to. You could be crude, but you could also end up being alone.
yeah.
Like
Oh yeah,
right, brute force can end up being your alone being brute. Having that force. So I don't want that. It's a great team. I want to keep them around. and keeping them involved. And that now we have the senior mod role
Yeah.
where a couple of the battle mods that have put time in that they kind of earned that title. They are now like Boosh and I are the lead, but they're our seconds. Like if
Yeah.
we're not around, they're the people you go to. If I ever got hit by a bus and disappeared,
Yeah.
they'd probably climb up the ladder that quickly because they already know everything I do
Yeah.
in the battle mod world.
Ah, that is awesome. So now in the early days, a lot of your events were most of your events were all on public servers. How
Oh yeah.
crazy was that? Because you had variables that you couldn't control now, and you're trying to run a tournament.
Well, I think that added a fun spice to it.
Yeah.
Um, but unfortunately, the more popular the game has gotten, the more
Yeah.
opportunity for people to either not be honest with their integrity as a competitor, or
Yeah.
more often than that, other people just not wanting to other people wanting to ruin what
Yeah.
events do. And other events have this problem even now. I know it. I
Yeah.
doubt. I mean, I'm sure they know it. Where you get those trolls that are like, oh, let's try to stream snipe them.
Yeah.
Let's get in there and let's ruin their event. Like that
Right.
that that would happen. Thankfully, it didn't happen nearly as much in the early days.
Yeah.
But running into especially if you're doing a solo event on
Yeah.
public servers and you're all running as solos and you can still run into a 4-man or a 5-man like that,
Yeah.
that's a heavy variable.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
but it made it fun, like we love when a competitor recognizes, you know what? I'm only going to die here.
Yeah.
I'm going to back up and get my points another way. I'm going to go a
Yeah.
different angle and get like that's part of Tarkov. If
Right.
you actually do want to survive a raid, you can W key it all you want, but if you're not smart, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna W key and then reload, and
Yeah.
then W key and then reload into the next map. But if you W key when you need to, but also get tactical and reroute and
Mm-hmm.
reposition and flank and get your way, you can make it out. And one day I hope to learn how to survive a raid. But no, jokes aside. But we loved watching when people would think on their feet to those dynamics.
Oh
You
God,
know,
yes.
but at the
Yeah.
same time, with the private servers, having only 12 PMCs loaded on a map and every one of them is a competitor has this
Mm-hmm.
whole other flavor to it, which is really fun too.
Oh yeah.
You're only going to run into the
Yep.
competitive people. You're not going to run into Timmys and you're not
Right.
going to run into 4-mans. Like that has its own value to it as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like I
And
think one
and
of the. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say one of the cool things about the Tark, I can't remember, and I've apologized if it wasn't an Evasion tournament, but or if it was the other, it was a Twitch Rivals, but where the tank battery was in play for one of the goals, and just seeing how teams, because it was so heavy, they have to take turns, they have to, it's
Yeah.
just the only thing you could do, that only could happen in a Tarkov game
Yeah.
with some
That
of the
that
things
uh
like that.
that was Rivals, but I
Yeah,
mean that was a really fun thing that they added for sure. For
yeah,
sure. I mean, I respect what the Rivals team has done and what they do, and
yeah.
and there's I will coyly say, like, why are you wearing the Church Rivals armband? There's only one armband you should be wearing. But I don't mean blatant disrespect. It's
Yes.
it's a pride thing and it's
Yeah,
meant to be playful.
yeah,
But,
absolutely.
but yeah, that was a Church Rivals event. But we've had other things similar to that. Maybe
Yep,
not to the exact same extent with the tank battery, but yeah,
yep,
coming up with these interesting solutions to the problems you face as a team is
yep.
really fun.
Well, and then moving it to the private servers, now you can have some custom rules like you had Tequila and Killa on interchange, and that just more dynamics that it was just made makes such a wonderful thing to watch, and it's exciting.
It's very exciting. Yeah, and we've with every one of those games that we do on the private servers, we come in with a vision,
Yep.
and then BSG wakes us up and says, some of that is just not possible,
Yeah.
you know, and some of it is.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it definitely is a great feature to have. We're really lucky that BSG have trusted us to run these events on private servers with them.
Yep.
I could definitely say that private public server events are not dead.
No.
Even Evasion will probably still have a few public server events in the future.
Yeah.
We're working on a few. We're always working on other things, and
Yeah.
I'm working on a few ideas that hopefully come to life. And it's just doing some early wipe events.
Yep. Oh
Uh,
yeah.
the private servers make early wipe irrelevant.
Yep.
That's one really cool thing about the private servers is that like, hey, you
Yes.
can have a private server event on week 1 after wipe. Not that you're going to.
Right.
I'm not going to.
No.
I know that everyone who just got into the new wipe, they're going to only be focusing on getting their levels up and getting their,
Uh-huh.
but week 3, which would be way too early for an Evasion event, we could do a private server event if we wanted to.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if you're level 20 or 40 or 10 or 2, because
Right.
the private server, everyone could be on the same playing ground. It's pretty
Yes.
cool.
That is cool. But yeah, that's a great yeah, that's like a good idea, a good suggestion. It's like you doing a public event on the early days of the wipe maps are crazy. You don't know what you're gonna run into. Everybody's sort of like in their basics. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and there's plenty of ideas out there, but
Yeah.
who knows what Evasion will do. Season 4 is not even in the drawing board yet. We're taking a break
Oh
and
yeah.
waiting for wipe, and then we'll get the season 4 documents open, and we'll start working on it and see what happens.
Well,
I
you
have
think
I have all kinds of ideas sketched out to see what happens, but none of that doesn't mean any of it will be real.
yeah. Well, you think about how big of an event that you guys just passed through. You had your North Americans, you had European, and then you had the OCEs. It was just like, holy cow, that's so much work that goes on in the course of, a couple of weeks just for the event. You don't know how much is happening in the back end of coordinating everything.
It's a lot of work. It
I can
really is.
only
I
imagine.
I do not use any program to clock my manpower hours. I don't think Sigma might,
Yeah.
but I don't think any of us do, and it's probably better for our morality if we don't,
Yeah.
so we don't realize how much time we put into things. But
Yeah.
it's a passion project.
Right.
Sigma holds no expectations of us other than doing what we promise we will do,
Yeah.
and everything beyond that is a gift that we do. And I do
Hmm.
this because I love the game. I
Yeah.
love the community, and I love Sigma and the team, and I wanna make this as fun as it could be and as exciting as it could be.
Yeah, and that's something that's spoke of so many times. How many people come out and just say they, like I've had Will, I've Bunny, Garlem, and just everybody loves Sigma, and they're all an invasion family, and it's so nice to see in today's day and age. Just the commitment and the joy people are having for just being a part of that team. How active are you in the Tarkov community?
Active enough that I had to be the adult to myself and say, Brian, if you want to buy a house, you can't have 55 subs. And I had
Yes.
I mean, it was heartbreaking for me when I looked. I One day I looked and I had 50 something subs, and I was
Yeah.
like, how the hell am I ever going to save up for a house putting that kind of money out every month?
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's because there's so many creators, and I'm not just talking about the Evasion team,
Mhm.
our content creators that are with Evasion, but
Yeah.
beyond that, the community is great, and I try to be active where I can. Obviously, when Evasion is in full swing, I'm lurking more than I'm talking.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm getting to know a lot. When we get new every season I have to learn new competitors, whether
Yeah.
it's people that are new to the scene or just people that have been around but now are finally being a part of our event.
Right.
And so yeah, I might be a new face in a lot of those channels, but the 50 or so that I was just mentioning, I've been there for a while. And if I could, I would make them all a part of Evasion, and
Yeah.
even if they're a part of other things because they're all so great.
Yeah.
I try to support where I can. Now I actually had to put my big point pants on, and I only have 5 subs.
Yes.
I still give bits where I can, or if someone's doing a fundraiser, I'll try to do what I can
Yeah.
to support. But even just being a number, being a viewer and quietly lurking, I quietly lurk more than I chat in all
Yeah.
channels now.
Mhm.
You know, uh, I still will have a soundboard go off for Pachipo when I go on his channel, even if I'm lurking, just to let them know I'm there, and then I go
Yeah.
back to going whatever work I have. But the community is great.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's had rapid growth,
Yeah.
and I've dealt with a few communities. Mentioned the DIY community. I only
Yeah.
recently stopped being a regional contact for Burning Man. I
Yeah.
don't know if you know what Burning
He's
Man
a
is.
DayZ, right?
No, 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 no,
Or
no.
no.
Burning Man is a totally
Oh,
different non-gaming
I'm
thing.
sorry.
It's
I'm thinking Running Man, but Burning Man, the audio, the
the
concert thing out in
Yeah,
Arizona.
yeah,
Yes. Okay.
yeah, 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 in Nevada. But yeah,
Yes. Sorry.
that is a totally additional cultural thing. A whole other aspect of my life that
Oh
isn't
my
really relevant
God.
to gaming. But I was a part of that for like a decade,
No
and
way.
I was a regional contact for that event. You deal with building communities and interacting with communities, and every community you ever deal with, you're going to find that like 5 to 10% are just bad.
Yes. That's
bad
life.
is not the right word, toxic is probably a better word,
Yeah.
or, not community-minded, they're here to take and not to give type of
Yeah.
thing. But you're always gonna have, like, 5 to 10% of any community not being what you ideally want within your community.
Yeah.
And Tarkov going from, 20,000 simultaneous players to
Mhm.
120,000 to 300,000 or whatever number they're at. I have no
Yeah.
idea what their numbers are. That 10% of 300,000, it's a lot more people than
Yeah.
10% of 20,000. So there are a toxic element within any community given
Yes.
anywhere. Obviously, they're very vocal minority, especially on Reddit,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
there's all the
yes.
memes about Reddit and
Oh
memes about
god.
Tarkov Twitter. I meme about Tarkov Twitter all the time. It's
Yeah.
where people go to bitch. It
Yeah.
is, but the community in a whole, it's probably the best gaming community I've been a part of, and I've been a part of Arma. I've been a part of Battlefield. I've done other things,
Yeah.
but man,
Mm.
like it's very so quickly to be able to be, oh, you want advice? Here, let me give you advice.
Yeah.
Let me help you get better at this game. Let me give you what I can. So many people are just willing to share their
Yeah.
experiences, their viewpoint. And there's varied viewpoints, right? Like
Yeah.
one of the things I tell my new guys at the firehouse, when you're new to the fire department, you're gonna get assigned to a company, you're gonna be in that company. But one thing that happens a lot is that when there's a detail, when one of the other firehouses are short of people and
Yeah.
you gotta go as a new guy, you're gonna go fill in that slot.
Mhm.
The old guy like me, I've been here. I've earned my time. I don't have to, go, but the
Right.
new guy's gonna go, and I tell them all the time, "You're gonna go. You're gonna rotate through all these different houses a lot. Pick up what you can from all of them.
Yeah.
Watch how they operate. You're gonna be taught a few different things throughout the early years of your career. Pick up what you can, and then find what works for you." And it's the
Yeah.
very same thing with Tarkov.
Mhm.
You're gonna have the shift W guy, you're gonna have the tactical shooter guy,
Yeah.
you're gonna have the rat camper guy, you're gonna
Yeah.
have, the only worry about looting and don't
Yep.
worry about PvP and only
Uh-huh.
worry about PV. You're gonna have all these different viewpoints. Check it all out,
Yep.
and every one of them, a majority of them have an interest in voicing their opinion and telling you what they think is the best move and
Yep.
teach you what they can and learn what you can and then make it yours.
Yep.
The community is really great for that. They're supportive of each other in every way.
Yep.
And unfortunately, there is a faction of people that don't represent that, and I just try my best to stay distant from them.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lurk in their channels,
No.
you know?
Yeah, this was my first real, I've been gaming since, my Atari 2600 or head-to-head baseball, back way
Yeah.
back when, But this is really the first community I've sort of been active in, like, whether it's in Twitter or Reddit, and it's I have nothing but, like you said, there's certain elements that you're going to have anywhere you go. The assholes are going to be there. They're not going away. They're there. But for the most part, all of my interactions have been great, and I started this. I did another podcast. I have another podcast with a bunch of friends that we sort of just bullshit around with Tarkov, bring a couple of people now and then. But this one here, this Tarducks pod, is really for bringing on people from the community and getting their stories and cap because everybody's just been so wonderful and being able to share their stories and having you on to hear the where you came from and the background with evasion and all that. It's just it's fantastic, and I'm so happy you hopped on here.
Well, I'm happy that you had me, and I think it's really cool that you give an opportunity to many people, even insignificant little fleas like me, a chance to talk a little bit about what they do.
Well, no, that's the cool part of this is like there's so many levels of when it comes to content creation. You just think of the streamer. Well, there's so much more that you have the mods, you have editors, you have people who are the evasion type in organizations where, and inside that organization you have so many other things I've come to learn. You have battle mods, you have castings, and it's just to get that story so people can hear like you see people watch these evasion tournaments. Okay, what really happens? There's so many moving parts behind that. It's like when it's done well, like an evasion tournament is, it's there's a lot of people that make that happen and make it successful, and they hear
Yeah.
those stories. It's great to share.
Yeah, and to hear other people tell us, like when I see a tweet on Twitter and they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, I'm so happy Evasion's back. You guys do the best events." I take
yeah,
pride in that.
yeah.
You know,
Oh, definitely.
I'm not. It's not my baby. It's everyone's baby. There's a
Yeah,
lot of people involved in the making of this bread, and making the sausage in the background, whatever,
yeah.
whatever metaphor you want to use. But either way,
Right.
there's a lot of hands involved in this. But I'm proud of my part in it, and I'm proud of knowing Sigma and seeing going from just like 5 random streamers that were just bored
Yeah.
late wipe. What the hell do we do? Hey, let's try to see if we can kill each other. Let's stream snipe each other and get jumped on the same server and start. All right, now we're gonna do PACAs and pistols only, and
Yeah.
let's see who wins. To go from that to what we've done now is it's been a pretty crazy ride to be a part of. I wasn't there from the very, very beginning, but I was
Yeah.
definitely there from the beginning, you know, and I was definitely there from the beginning of Evasion, and to see what her original vision was, to see what's knowing some of the things that are in the coming
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm
Oh,
so proud of her and so proud of our team.
well, and also, after Tarkov TV last week, Battle Arena, that's got to open some new ideas for you guys, which I can't wait to see what happens with that. And,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
gonna revolutionize a lot of what we're doing. We're
yeah.
very excited about what's to come of that. I mean, I don't think that we will ever abandon EFT just for Arena,
Yeah.
um, but I definitely think Arena will add a whole new element and a fun element to what we do.
Yeah.
Sigma's a better person to talk about what the
Yep.
final end goal will that will be, but uh, from what I know, what influences I may hold, and what from visions I
Yeah.
have, I mean, Arena is gonna really make stuff go really fun. I
Oh,
can't wait
that's,
for it.
yeah.
I'm still very curious to see how that's all gonna play out
Yes.
and how
Yep.
much we can take advantage of it to turn it into an evasion event.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, you're gonna see competitive Tarkov like you've never seen before.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
for Sigma, put a little meme, little spicy tweet out not too long ago. But Tarkov isn't competitive, and
Oh,
then
yeah. It's
Arena
not
right after Arena,
esports.
I got announced exactly. And EFT, the game compared to Arena, it isn't competitive in that level,
No.
but Arena will be in that level, and I'm curious to see how that's all going to go, and can't wait to be a part of the ride.
Yeah, and see, because now you can have, teams develop. Like, okay, let's partner up, and now Evasion's already had that foresight to have that team. You have your head crackers, then you have your people who create content. So it's the bit of the foundation is there already, and it's yeah. When the arena comes, it should
And
be
look how
fun.
quick. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but very quickly, out of nowhere, there's a ton of new organizations popping up.
Mm-hmm.
Some for
Yeah.
events, some for esport team,
Yeah.
some for both, and I'm excited to see what happens with that. Like
Yeah.
I tweeted about it not too long ago, but I'll mention it here for those that don't follow my lowly little Twitter. One of the early Christmas events that we did with BSG, we were trying to fill, like, how do we fill 5 days of content,
Yeah.
and we were like, oh, let's do a team versus team,
Yeah.
and we had Team Evasion. We're like, well, what other team exists? And they're like, there is no other team. We're the only
Right.
one. Well, all right, well, let's do stream teams then.
Yes.
Like, and now we're actually going to have other teams.
Yes.
And now that's going to add a whole new level of the pride fighting, and
Yep.
and just the team building, and it's going to be really interesting what comes next with that. I
Oh,
can't wait to see it.
absolutely. Yep. It's going to be good. So now, when you step away from evasion and you got a couple of days off, what are you doing? What's your go-to? I saw you like photography. You're into music still.
Yeah, I mean, going to see live music is always one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
I really can't do the whole festival thing much anymore. I just it tests my patience, and I'm older. I mean,
Yeah.
I could definitely jump into the pit and have fun when I can.
Yeah.
But I can't do that for 52 bands over a 4-day weekend. Not anymore.
Oh
No,
my
I
God.
I prefer the little, dive bar,
Yeah.
and smaller venue. I like to see 3 bands play to maybe 500 people or something.
Yeah.
I'll go into the city when I can. I'll go down to Philly when I can. There's a couple venues here in New Jersey I can go to.
Yeah.
My lady and I, we it's become a passion of ours that every vacation we've been going to national parks.
Oh,
That
cool.
that is like, it kind of touches on the photography end of thing, but
Yeah.
just the wonders of the planet that we're living in. We've hit up a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of the national parks. Our goal is to to see every state, including Hawaii and Alaska, and
Yeah.
to hit as many of the national parks as we can. That's how we spend our vacations, is
Oh, nice.
going to a new state and seeing their national parks. And
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of them, and I'm really happy that I've had those experiences. The first time I went to the Grand Canyon, I realized, like, I am nothing.
Yeah.
I am this tiny, tiny little man
Yeah.
on this huge spinning rock, and there's this fall the size of the Eiffel Tower below me, and it's just pretty crazy. The planet is amazing. So
Yeah, absolutely. We've started, up here in New England. We do try to get up to New Hampshire's, and we hike 4,000 footers. But it's our 25th anniversary, and I think I'd like to get to take a trip out to Utah or and hit a couple of national parks.
Oh, you really should.
What has been your all the parks you've hit so far? What one has stuck out the most that you're like, wow? If you get to go back again, you'll go back.
You mentioned Utah, and that probably is like the go-to. I mean, the mountainous ranges of the Rockies, in and of themselves, are just mind-blowing. I mean,
Yeah,
I've been up to Mount Washington and up by you.
yeah,
I have a good friend of mine lives right at the base of the Green Mountains, and
yeah,
and I go there a lot. I enjoy my time up there.
yeah,
But when I went through the Moab Valley, when I went to Arches and I went to Dead Horse Point and I went to Moab, that whole area is just ethereal. It's mind blowing.
yeah.
It's otherworldly.
Wow,
It's amazing. You gotta go. Like you gotta
cool.
go.
All right.
The whole Four Corners area, which is probably hopefully where I'm going to retire.
Yeah,
That whole area, everything there, from Colorado to Utah to Arizona, it's just amazing. But Grand Canyon was very special.
yeah,
But driving through Arches and Moab, it's just at any moment, whether it was pouring rain because we got
yeah.
stuck in the rain there too, or when it was sunny, sunrise, sunset, it doesn't matter. It's just beauty everywhere, man.
Oh wow,
Definitely
cool.
go.
Excellent. All right. Well, hey, you survived an episode of Tarducks. Was it painful?
Not at all. Not at all.
Excellent.
You made it very effortless and painless, and I appreciate that.
All right. Well, before I let you go, I got to ask you now. At the end of every episode, I call out my guest to call out somebody else that they got to throw under the bus and say, "This person, you got to come on Tarducks." Who you putting that person on the spot?
Oh boy. I should carry the torch and pick another Evasion team member, but I feel like Sigma already picked a few,
Yeah.
and I won't be surprised if some of them pick other Evasion team members.
All right.
Um, Let me think. I think your best bet.
Yep.
I would be curious to see you interview. Oh man. Um, you know, I'm gonna say Mr. Gibbon.
Oh, I've never heard of that one.
Mr. Gibbon's an Irish content creator,
All right.
growing, pretty new.
Yeah.
I found his stream not too long ago. I've really enjoyed his content. Really great personality, and he's building his reputation within the Tarkov community. And rather than stick with the cliche of picking another Evasion team member,
Yeah.
I hope I don't do the team a disservice. But
Nope.
I'd be curious to have you talk with him.
I will find him. That's excellent. All right.
Yeah,
Well, there we go.
I can share with you his information. I
All
got it
right.
all.
Sweet. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much. I'm so happy I had to do a little arm twisting and Sigma was like, well, maybe I'll get hotel and both of them will hop on. It's like, all right, well, and I text her, I sent her a message later saying, hey, Brian's in, and she goes, yes. So cool. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I just feel like there are bigger fish in the sea than me, and I feel like I didn't know if I would be able to be interesting. So
Dude, we
hopefully
got
I
over
filled
an
it up with
hour of
content.
content. Yeah, it's all good.